Now you can get online with HostGator for less.
All right, let's see if this is working. Can you hear me out there? Wherever you are. All right, let's see. Hey guys, can you see me? Can you hear me? Okay? Nice. I see some comments. Let me switch to a different window so I can see and hear better. Hey guys, how's it going? Glad to see you guys are around. I figured I'd do a little quick stream here on a Friday night. Got nothing else to do. And I am actually still tweaking my live stream gear. I'm using these headphones, well, mostly for the microphone, which is okay. I'm trying to use some other stuff, but I haven't gotten it to work yet. So for this time, I'll go with this funny looking headset. So today I'm testing the equipment and it seems to be working fine. You can both see me and hear me okay. And I put the picture to low saturation. It's almost black and white because I thought, well, it sounds kind of cool. By the way, can you see my shirt? Shamelessly promoting my Master Guitar Academy t-shirt. You can buy them actually on my online store. They look pretty cool. They're really comfortable. All right, so what I wanted to show you before, I'll take some questions after if you have any, but I want to show you a couple of things that hopefully you'll find interesting. So this is going to be a little bit more technique based, a little bit more advanced, I guess. You know, some flashy licks. Not that I know many flashy licks, but when I do try to play flashy licks, there'll probably be something along these lines. So I'm playing over, you know, maybe an E7. Or it could be an E minor too. So it's a mostly pentatonic or minor blues scale in E. You probably know the minor blues scale box 1. Very, very useful scale. I highly recommend you spend time with this scale and really get to know it all over the neck, because you can play it in other places than here. Really got to know that scale. That's so useful. Anyway, the lick is kind of based around that. So I'm playing this way. That's what it sounds like when I play it fast. Gotta adjust my pick in my hand. All right, sounds quick. And the trick to play this is using hybrid picking. So I'm starting with just one note on the E string. Then I switch to the B string and do a pull off. That's the first 3 licks. And then I go to the G string and play that blue note, the flat 5. And after that, I go straight back to the B string, but I pluck it with my middle finger. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 notes. So you can work on them like that. First you play 3, and then you play 4, and then you play 5 notes. It's because of that technique with the pull off and hybrid picking. I think it's possible to play it really fast and clean. The last note can be whatever you want. All right, so those are the first 5 notes. Then I go back to a G string, and then I slide and do a pull off. No, actually. Oh yeah, I do that. Slide and pull off. And then I play, which is kind of a country thing. So that's the whole lick. I was trying to repeat that. I'm not very good at it. Anyway, that was too hard for me. So that's a lick. So next I want to show you something that's building on that. This is a lick that I picked up from the one and only Greg Koch. He is a cool dude, and he can play guitar. So he had part of the lick in a way was something like this. So far it's the same as before. But then he played. So this note, the major 6, slide it down to the minor 6, and then pull off to the 5. Back to the blue note, and back up to the 5. That's the whole lick. Back to the G string, slide, pull off. And then I'll play. Anyway, there you go. Two cool, hopefully cool blues licks. It's really hybrid between country, jazz, blues, and rock, I think. And what do you call that style? Beats me. Fusion is kind of the wrong word, isn't it? But it is technically some kind of fusion, a mixture, conglomeration of different genres. Right? So, any questions? You can ask me anything you like. And hopefully next time I do this, I will have a special mic that I couldn't get working. One of these. So I don't have to wear this stupid thing on my head. I look like a fake reindeer. Yeah. I don't know if I see any more comments here. Is my sound okay? We'll see if I have any questions here. Hey, Great Barrier Island. And Morgan Maroon, GER, Arthur, Mark. Hey, Mark from Vegas. I heard you had snow down there. That must be unreal for you guys. I mean, we're used to it up here in Canada. Rokas from Lithuania. Ah. A former neighbor almost to me, because I used to live in Sweden. That's my home country. New Zealand. That's far away from here, on the other side of the planet. Mexico, Veracruz. And Germany, Rome. Nice, always wanted to go to Rome. I'm going to take my daughter there sometime. Munich. Johan from Munich. Len, San Francisco. I haven't been there either. New Jersey. Seth. I don't think I've been there. Maybe I went to the airport. That's about it. DRC. Where is that? DRC? Is that Congo? Lots of snow in Vegas. Is that right? Yeah, like this much. We have tons of it, man. All right, let me show. Okay, can you show the picking? How you use pick? Well, hope you could see in those licks that I played. Those licks that I played are a combination of hybrid picking and alternate picking. I do that quite often. So I pluck one note on one string. Then when I go this direction, I pick the next one. So B string and G string. Pluck, pick. And then I do it again on the next. I just play the same pattern, but I just switch the notes. That's for playing like four note patterns. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the one way you can do it. Attila from Hungary. I haven't been there either. Many places I'd like to go visit someday. But let's talk a little bit about picking. That's an interesting topic. I haven't done a lot of lessons on picking, so we can do that now a little bit. There's so many things you can practice when it comes to picking, but I think the most fundamental thing that you want to work on is playing, I think it's called tremolo picking, where you just play one note. And besides just practicing the picking hand, you actually get to practice muting too, especially if you have some distortion, because you can't just go you can't ignore the other strings because you're going to get a bunch of noise, right? So it's good for that purpose too. As you start moving the notes around, you have to think about muting, and that's mostly in the left hand. Anyway, so tremolo picking, you can pick, let's see, E on the G string here. And then you try to play with small movements with the hand. Now, I'm not the best picker. There are guys that are, like Yngwie Malmsteen, for example, my idol from my teenage years. I could never get as good as he is, obviously. He has an amazing picking technique. But I wanted to be like him, so I spent a lot of time on trying to develop speed and accuracy. And I'm fairly accurate, but I'm not really that fast. But I'm all right, I guess. So when I say small movements with the hand, I mean don't go like that, right? You want to, basically the smaller the better, because then you're more efficient and you'll get less tired. I've seen people have less movement than I do, so I know there are people that are much better than me at doing this. But aim for small movements and having each note sounding even. You don't want it to sound you want to be smooth. And of course it's good to use a metronome and gradually speed it up. You can experiment with how hard you hit the string, but generally the smaller the movements, the better it's going to be. And you can, when you do that, I mean, the goal isn't to be the fastest on the planet doing that. It's about having control and being accurate and being consistent. But as you play this, after a while, okay, you get a hang of it. You can play around with angling the pick different ways. And if you listen carefully, you'll hear how the tone changes when you change the angle of the pick. So I'm going to try and demonstrate that. So at the end there, I was more parallel, but I don't think that works that great. I like to angle a little bit, not completely at an angle like this, but maybe something like that. Then I find the pick glides back and forth over the string easiest. And it also depends on what kind of pick you use, how thick it is and how pointed it is. And I find pointy picks for me kind of I feel like I get stuck in the strings. I like to have them a little more rounded. And it's really hard to play two notes back and forth at that speed. For me anyway, it's really hard to synchronize, so I just go pull off some hammer-ons instead. Right? That's actually hard to play if you pick every note. For me anyway. Much easier to pull off. Anyway, that's a little bit about picking. So that's just plain one note. And you can of course play like a little up and down a scale. And I'm really not that great at doing this. I can hear that it's not even all the time. I don't practice this very much, but I also rarely play 900 notes with the same, you know, that kind of speed picking thing, doing the same thing for 900 notes in a row. I rarely do that. But one problem that happens when you start playing several notes and you switch strings, what I'm talking about is when you go from for let's say the D string to the E string, so a string that's higher up this way towards me. When I go from that string to a string that's lower down that direction, I'm not talking about pitch now, this direction, from the B to E string. So my pick hand is going down as I'm switching to the E string. So that means I'm going to do an upstroke on that string. So, because I'm starting on the downstroke. Down, up, down, switch string. Down, up, down, switch string. Upstroke, downstroke. Upstroke, downstroke, upstroke. So what happens when I play that pattern? Is that sequence makes it so anytime I switch strings, I'm going in the right direction. Because as I said, I'm going with the downstroke and when I'm moving to the next string that direction, and then upstroke. And upstroke, downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke when I'm going this direction. So my hand is always ready to either go up or down. So there's no other movement in my hand than this. Up and down, up and down, and up and down. I don't have to think about anything really other than I need to switch strings, but I don't have to think about the pick very much. Now, if you try to do the opposite, I think you'll find it's really, really hard to do. If you play this pattern, and look at my right hand. It's just doing the same thing, right? And I can't play this and talk at the same time. My right hand isn't changing. It's really economical to play that way. But the problem is if you want to play, let's say, 4 notes, suddenly it's way harder, because what happens then is you're going to have an upstroke when you switch to the string that's down there, but your hand is moving the other direction, farther away, much harder. So now some people can do that really well. There are lots of great pickers out there that can handle that. I am not one of them. I have tried my whole life to fix that and get better at it, but it's just really difficult. So I usually rely on hammer-ons and pull-offs, or I plan out a pattern. And when I say pattern, I mean the picking pattern. The notes can be whatever. But if I have practiced a few patterns that I know that if I play over 3 strings, I have some patterns worked out where I know that if I play this picking pattern with my right hand, I'm always going to be doing the right thing when I'm switching strings. I'm always going to be going down with my pick when I'm going to a thinner string, and I'm always going to go up when I'm switching to a thicker string that's above me this way, right? So this might sound nerdy, but it really can be a big deal. It can really limit your picking if you don't think about those things. So if you want to practice how hard that is, if you start with an upstroke and play this pattern, instead of starting with a downstroke, try starting with the upstroke. Then everything's going to be switched around and it's going to be super hard. I can't do it. It's like so hard. But on the other hand, that could be one of those things that I should practice a lot, because it is possible to get better at it. But it's so hard to change it once you're used to an efficient way of picking. You want to stick to it because it's way easier. Anyway, that's a little bit about picking. And my style of playing doesn't involve a lot of I don't play a lot of stuff like that. Instead, I do a lot of hammer-ons and pull-offs. It's just much easier for me to play that way. So a lot of times I play 3 notes, and the last one is being played with a pull-off. And when I go up the other direction, then the last note is hammered on. Anyway, that's a little bit about picking. Picking seems to take the most practice, more than finger positions. Yeah, for a lot of people that's the case. And I wish, if I started over playing guitar now, you know, I think I would be a different musician probably. I would play a different way, because I probably would realize that I could practice a lot of things right. I would spend a lot more time on picking and also rhythm and practicing picking. I actually would think playing something like bluegrass, mandolin, and acoustic guitar, and playing that kind of stuff, that would probably be a good idea, because you end up developing strong picking if you play that kind of music. I unfortunately played too much when I was a kid. Can't even play it anymore, but so picking is important to work on. But I also want to say that because I play the way I do, a lot of hammer-ons and pull-offs, legato as we call it, that means you can develop a style that works well without having to be one of those guys who can pick flawlessly. You can play hammer-ons, pull-offs, you can use hybrid picking and sweeping. Can't play that stuff anymore, but it sounds cool. I mean, there are lots of different techniques you can use to develop your own style. I should live just now. So those are things to think about. You don't always have to pick every note, and you don't have to play all legato. You can blend all these things together to find your own style, including hybrid picking and sweeping and plucking, strumming, even tapping. Oops. Not that I do it very much, but you can play the same stuff with doing that. It's more than one way to play and approach technique and style. So, any other questions? I think that lick is cool. What type of pick do I use? I use these picks that I just got. These are awesome. They're made by Hell Parts. And this new model is called the Cocktail. And it looks like, see if I can show you, it looks like this. This shape. Forget what this shape is called. Is it jazz style? I've seen it before. But the pick is thick. It's about 2 millimeters, I think. And it has these bevels. And there's also like a, what do you call it? Like an imprint of so your thumb can go in there. It's like a little bowl in the middle. And you get a really good grip. And he also has the ones that have this shape. And those are my favorite picks. They're thick, 1.4 to 2 millimeters, and there's also a 3.2, I think. But the 2 millimeters are awesome, and they have kind of a rounded, quite round edge, so they don't have a sharp sound, which I like. The best metronome, well, the one that I like the best is, what is it called? I have to look it up. And where is it? There we go. Time Guru. Time Guru. That one is awesome because you can set it to a whole bunch of different meters. So you can play 4/4 and then switch to 3/4 and to 7/4 and whatever you want. And you can arrange that however you like. And then it has perhaps the most awesome feature, which is randomization. So that if you're used to hearing click on 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, right? To make yourself better at following along, you can skip one or several. So this app, when you put it to random mute, there's a percentage slider, so you can then you're forced to keep time because it can take away one out of four, and next time it might take away the four and take away the three and the four again, and it's just randomly removing a beat. And you can set it to remove several beats so that you have to really focus on keeping time. So that's a good app to practice with. It's good to practice just a steady, even beat, but once you want to get even better than that, even to go beyond and have a stronger sense of time, you can start removing the clicks randomly, because that will force you to, where's the beat? I need to know it and feel it so that when it comes back in, I'm right on. That's a great practice. And that app will make that easier. All right. The tips for keeping the hands relaxed while playing. Yeah, that's a good question. I think you should play with a light touch. Don't use so much force. Maybe practice just playing maybe one finger on the string at the time, one at a time, like. Switch to a different string. And think about having a light touch as you do that. And then when you play chords, of course, bar chords, then you have to squeeze more. But think about the kind of loosening up the hand so that you put the thumb down a bit, and think of having the arm go out a little bit more like this, instead of, if you put the arm towards your body, it ends up really crampy. But if you look at my elbow, I let it go out a little bit like this. I'm going to have be more relaxed in my hand as I play then. I'm just noodling around. Sorry, get carried away. But I actually was trying to play with the soft touch there and not so hard. But playing hard has its, has its place too. Sounds cool sometimes too. All right. Am I a fan of John Scofield? Are you kidding me? John Scofield, he's my hero. Maybe number one. Yes, I'm a huge fan of John. And actually, I have a cool story to tell you about that. 25 years ago, he came to Sweden, where I lived at the time, and he was playing at the jazz festival, and he needed a Mesa Boogie amp from the organizers, and they couldn't find one. And I happened to have one at the time, so they phoned me and said, "Can John Scofield borrow your amp for the gig tonight?" And I was like, "What?" Of course. So he played the gig with my amp. That was pretty cool. Anyway, yes, I'm a big fan. Okay, I forgot how to play that, but yes, Scofield, he has so much feel in all he does. I mean, he's a phenomenal jazz player. I like his raw style, but he can also play funky blues stuff really well. Of course, with jazz influence, but he's like a mixture between jazz, blues, and funk, I would say. Actually, one thing I can show you about some ideas that I picked up from John Scofield. I think he's the guy who invented this thing. It's stacked minor thirds. So you play it just on the E string, and then you skip to the G string. Same frets. And then you can move it in minor thirds, and you get the diminished arpeggio. And he uses that quite often. And of course, other players have taken that idea and spun it around, and you can do a lot more with it. But that's the basic idea. 4 notes, string skipping, and then you use that concept to create your own licks and lines. And if you listen closer to John Scofield, you'll hear he gets that in there quite often. He might just do that. You know, I'm simulating playing over a B7 in the key of E. That'd be E minor. So the 5-chord B7. And then when I play that, it fits over the B7. Coming back to E minor. So that's a move he does a lot. Anyway, maybe I'm doing stuff that's too advanced, or it's too simple. You know, it's hard for me to know. I know a lot of my lessons are intermediate and a lot of beginner stuff too. But I like to play more advanced stuff and, you know, faster stuff and more technical things that can often be rewarding for yourself. So I do some of that in my own time, and I have a few lessons on more advanced topics, but I never get the same kind of response on those. Usually people want stuff that's a little bit easier to learn. How's my guitar tone? I think I'm going to turn off the overdrive. I'm using my Axe FX. But when it comes to picking, that I said before, I think it's important to think about being gentle in pressure overall, both with the picking hand and the left hand, because I play very lightly. I don't hit very hard. I can pick distinct without hard. That's soft. If I play hard, that just doesn't sound as good. A lot of pull-offs when I play. Soft is good. Distinct is good. But you don't have to overdo energy to play distinct. Another thing I like to do is to explore chords. There's so much you can do with chords. Take a scale and start moving the chords around. And if you can harmonize. Harmonized E minor scale, for example. You can start with the triad. You can start with and those are triads, and you can play just random notes from the scale, a random pattern. For example, you can play that's like playing from the pentatonic. Then you move up the neck and pick the next available note in that scale. then you create some mini chords. You can just change the concept. Okay, I don't want to play that pattern. I want to play. Well, that isn't very nice sounding. Let's change it. Sorry. Now suddenly you have a bunch of cool voicings. A lot of these experiments end up like, wow, that's cool, I should use that sometime. Then you have to practice it enough so that you can find it without thinking too much when you actually want to use it. But yeah, I like doing that kind of thing, especially when the notes are close together, like, let's see. It's like an E minor 9. I can move it. That's a cool way to practice scales. Just map out a certain shape and then you move it up and down the neck and pick the next available note within that scale. It's fun. It's a fun way to actually practice and apply theory, because you can figure out what these intervals are. And also you're just practicing the one scale in a different way than playing one note at a time in a sequence, because that's not always the best way to create music. All right. Switching to a left-handed guitar because I'm a lefty. I don't know, man. You should play the way that makes sense to you and not listen to anybody else. That's my advice. Play the guitar how you like to play it, and if you find it easier one way, then stick with that. That's the best approach. Anytime you force yourself to do something that's going against your I don't know, should I call it persona, your instincts, your gut, you feel that you want to do something a certain way because it's just the right way for you. And if you try to force yourself, I'm going to listen to what other people say and do it their way, it usually doesn't work so well. That's why, you know, some guys play upside down like this, like what's his name? Well, Albert King did that, for example, and Doyle Bramhall second. I'm sure they got told that you can't play the guitar that way. That's just wrong. But hey, it worked for them, so you can't say it wrong. They sound awesome. So yeah. I think I should call it a day. And thanks guys for tuning in. I appreciate you stopping by. Now I know it works, so we'll do it again sometime. and I will try and announce it ahead of time as well next time I do a more serious one. But I hope you like those licks, and if you got any questions, you can leave them in a comment. And you know, I also have a community tab here on YouTube, and that's a place where you can communicate with me and ask questions and post suggestions and whatever you like. If you go to my channel homepage, there is a link at the top, or a tab that says community. You go there and then you can stay in touch. Yes, what else? Yeah, if you want one of these t-shirts, Master Guitar Academy, I wouldn't be hard on you if you bought one. I also have t-shirts available on Teespring. I think it's available right below here. I only have one design right now. It says 6-string players club, I think. Yeah, 6-string players club. Really cool design. And we're all 6-stringers unless you play metal stuff. You might have a 7-string. I don't know. But those are nice t-shirts. And always check out my website, Master Guitar Academy, where I have tons of lessons with detailed instruction and notation and jam track and tablature and Guitar Pro. The works. And if you got any suggestions for something you'd like to see me cover in a future stream, you let me know. You can contact me through my website, or you can use that community tab that I mentioned. All right, I'll leave on that note, and I'll show you a cool chord that is a minor. What is it? It's a minor 9 major 7 chord, and I actually saw again Greg Koch play that. I already knew the chord, but I forgot about this voicing, and this is a cool voicing for it. And I heard him play it at one point. Greg is the coolest dude. Anyway, the chord sounds like this. A little bit spooky. I think of like some spy or agent in a trench coat in a dark alley, and the rain is pouring down, and we hear the chord. I can maybe skip the top note. That's even better. A simple shape for the fingers too. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time. Take care.